So we are streaming on YouTube. We are streaming on Twitter. We are streaming on Discord. Wheat. And we should be live on Instagram in about 30 seconds here. 30 seconds. Well, talk to me, guys. How's everyone doing? How is everyone doing? I know Niels is celebrating. Happy Saturday. I know Juan is celebrating. Juan's been looking at from our call yesterday. We actually launched a token together on the launchpad. It was like a community thing, and we launched the 30 Juan. And I'm not sure who started it, but I think it's a great idea. But essentially, we launched a token in the name of one of our community members, one of our OG archangels, called 30 Juan, and there was 301 tokens and it's a fixed supply. So I think that's even more cool. And whenever Juan's ready, I'm going to send him that entire contract for ownership. What's going on, Cesar? What's going on, Jacob? What's going on, everyone else? I'm looking at y'all in the chat here. I believe we are live on IG as well. Let's go live. Fantastic. We are live everywhere on all these platforms. Great. Great, 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 great. Let's dive into it. Yesterday, we had a conversation about tokenization. I know a lot of us already know about what this is, but a lot of us don't know exactly just how big it is and actually what's happening today that is making such a big difference in the world. For example, why Bitcoin is at the all-time high that it's at. Why companies like MicroStrategy, no matter what is going on, is buying more Bitcoin at every opportunity and hundreds of millions of it each time. Why we've seen a growth in the entire industry by trillions of dollars in the past few years. And what does this mean for us? What does it mean for society? Now, we watched a video yesterday by the founder of the Bitcoin Foundation. His name is Charlie Shrem. I'm gonna let Charlie talk about tokenization a little bit, just one more time here, so everyone gets like a full picture of how exactly this is and how it works. And let me share my screen here. I'll let him introduce the subject. And there was a request from one of the community members that was oh, let's just make sure. Can everyone hear? Can you guys hear the audio? Let's just make sure we are full audio. Yep, you can hear. Okay, so if we can all hear, let's move forward. Thanks, Tiffany, for just watching out for that. Let me know if you guys like don't see the picture or if anything else happens in the live stream, we'll get it fixed. But let's jump over to this video. Now, this Charlie guy, Charlie is, like I said, like I said, the founder of the Bitcoin Foundation. He is like an original Bitcoin, not just enthusiast, not just supporter, but like he has been in the industry since 2010, like since the dawn of Bitcoin, the day that it launched. Charlie was there, and he actually built, I believe, the first exchange ever in like the 2010s to 2012 era. And his exchange, it was called BitInstant, accounted for 30% of all Bitcoin transactions in the world at one point in time. So like he's a pretty big deal and he knows pretty well what is going on in the industry. He's been like a huge advocate for it. I mean, he built the Bitcoin Foundation and spreads education around everywhere in different places. They go to college campuses and things like that. And so this is him talking with a reporter about tokenization and how exactly it is going to be the biggest wealth transfer in human history.
Because it transformed the way we think about buying, owning, and really exchanging value.
Yeah, but what if I told you, Paul, that the next phase of this boom will be radically different and even better for society than Bitcoin? Because this next phase will enable us to buy, sell, own, and exchange literally anything in the world in the same way that people are buying and selling Bitcoin right now.
Anything in the world. Okay, like what, for instance?
Well, it means anything, Paul. Sports teams, professional athletes, music, TV shows, movies, farms, real estate, private businesses. I'm talking about a literal phase shift in actual world's ownership structure. Everything is going digital. You name it. People will be able to buy and sell it. It's a huge upheaval to the financial system. We'll be able to trade everything safely, securely, and instantaneously. Whole new investment worlds will open to people, worlds, and new opportunities will create wealth. That's the big picture here. This huge trend will allow everyday people, regardless of their wealth, to invest in assets that were previously only available to the world's like super elite, as simply and as effortlessly as buying a piece of Bitcoin today.
Okay, Charlie, I agree. This sounds
It's huge.
pretty big, but also honestly, like it could, still be a few years away. Maybe like it's one of those things that's so far in the future. When is this going to happen?
That's the thing. It's already happening. That's why time is of the essence. Just this year, for example, ordinary people had the chance to buy stakes in professional sports teams or own stakes in famous pieces of artwork. I'm talking about a Da Vinci sketch or an original Van Gogh. Heck, this trend is even allowing people to get in on incredibly valuable real estate deals that you wouldn't have access to before. In fact, people who bought in on one company backing this technology, T0, were able to access over $300 million in real estate deals.
Tokenization.
People are even leveraging this incredible trend to get in early on huge tech IPOs, like 22,000% on Axie Infinity, or 8,800% on Polygon, or over 13,300% on Solana, all within a year. That's why some experts are even calling this trend the new IPO. It's just that groundbreaking. But the official name for it is tokenization. The whole world is about to be tokenized. And it's going to open up a whole new realm of financial opportunities for everyday investors, including folks listening to this today.
Okay, you heard it from him. Now, what does that look like? What does that reality look like? How does that affect? Well, if we look at it from an economic perspective, we're looking at the world basically. Look, the traditional stock market, equities, all of this is in the 90 trillions. This is trillions, remember. Currently, the blockchain market is around $2 trillion. When more things get tokenized, because right now, most of the market is made up of Bitcoin. Like if we go to coinmarketcap.com, we can look at what the biggest market cap things are in the world. So let's look at this market cap. So right here, we can see that the entire market cap of the tokenized world is $2.34 trillion. I'm pointing up here in this section right here, market cap. All right. That's $2 trillion that didn't exist 10 years ago. This is mostly held by individuals like you and me and other people who are involved in blockchain. Now, what is making up this $2.34 trillion that did not exist literally, we'll say 14 years ago? It quite literally didn't exist. There was no Bitcoin, there was no digital currencies, there was no blockchain 14 years ago. In the last 14 years, it has crawled up to 2.34 trillion that is in the people's hands. the majority of it, the vast majority. Now, most of this is Bitcoin. Basically, half of it is Bitcoin. The other part is Ethereum, 412 billion. Tether, BNB, Solana, XRP, that's huge. He mentioned Solana in the video. In 3 years ago, Solana was like nothing, and now it's worth quite a bit. Ripple, Cardano, USDC. I don't know how Dogecoin made it all the way here. I think Elon Musk had a lot to do with Dogecoin getting pumped up to this size, but really stuff like Dogecoin is going to fall off the face of the earth in the long term when like everything starts to balance out. People are going to be like, well, this does nothing for anybody. Same with Shiba Inu. Maybe if they adopt it into a actual practical currency, but realistically, it's probably not going to survive the next 10 years. But things like Avalanche, which is infrastructure, Chainlink, infrastructure, Polkadot, infrastructure, Tron, infrastructure, Polygon, infrastructure. When I say infrastructure, I mean these are the companies along with OSIS, okay? Along with OSIS that are creating the foundation, the floor ground level for this major shift to happen. Those companies I showed you are tokenized, but all of them are only infrastructure. They're not the result of the infrastructure. They are not the companies that use the infrastructure. These companies are still coming up. So for example, in today's day and age, we have companies like Apple. Apple is not an infrastructure company, okay? You have massive companies like Apple. They're not building infrastructure, but they are using what is already available on the market to create great products and great experiences for people. Apple is not, they are not revolutionizing anything technologically, like not really. We all know that Android has all of the features you see in the new iPhone like 3 years plus before it. Like most Android users are like, cool, we had that camera that they're talking about in the new iPhone. We had that 3 years ago, all that technology. So it's not like Apple is out here completely changing the game and revolutionizing the tech industry. They're not. The companies that built the infrastructure for Apple, for example, NVIDIA, for example, Intel, these companies that make the chips that are like the like they're the pieces that make up the devices that we use, whether it's the computers or the phones or whatever. These companies have been around for a really long time, way before Apple. They set the groundwork, and now companies like Apple, companies like Facebook, these other companies, they come and they use this infrastructure and they get involved in the industry, the internet. So if you look at blockchain like the internet appeared, right? This network of computers that allowed people to exchange information. There were a lot of companies, for example, Amazon, for example, Microsoft, that built things like servers. They started building cloud architecture and infrastructure for companies like Facebook to come along and just piggyback off of this infrastructure. The internet was the big wave. Just like right now, the blockchain and tokenization is the big wave that we are all riding up. But in order for companies, in order for people, in order for everyone to get involved and take advantage of this and maximize this opportunity, this gold rush, I'll call it a gold rush because I mean, going from $0 to $500 trillion, 5 times more than our current entire global economy in terms of monetized assets and the stock market. That's a gold rush because that's a lot of money, and our population is not going to 10x in the next 10, 20 years. It's realistically, no, it's us. We're here. We are the ones that are on these boats right here on this call. We're all on the OSIS boat. And I'm sure you guys are involved with other projects as well, which is great, which is fantastic. I recommend it. But the wave is here, but people need the right tools, the right infrastructure in order to ride this wave. Now, the reason why companies like the ones that we listed here with the huge market caps, the reason why they're doing so well is because they are also building that infrastructure. But there will be companies that come along, projects, big things happening that push this market. For example, they're going to be companies, they mentioned one in the Charlie Shrem video, where he was talking about the tokenization of real estate. A company called T0 has essentially tokenized over $300 million worth of real estate, where normally you and I perhaps wouldn't be able to buy into a commercial building. For example, they're building a plaza with 100 stores, and they normally it costs $100 million, and you and I are not in that conversation. Okay, as much as we'd like to be, everyone wants to be a real estate investor, everyone wants to be involved in things like that, but hey, there's a requirement to be involved in that traditionally. But this company T0 has tokenized projects like this and allowed people like us to put $100 in, and bam, now you own commercial real estate in the hottest part of New York, for example. And suddenly that market becomes so much bigger because us, the majority, billions and billions of people, we are completely cut out and not allowed to be in these things that are happening. There's a lot of things going on in the world that can be monetized, but they are only monetized for a small group of people. Small group. What happens when you let everyone in? Things are different. Things are a lot different. Things like the chart that I just showed you happen because suddenly you have something called liquidity in the market. When a company is private, for example, we're going to give you this image. Snapchat. Snapchat was a private company at one point, okay? Before they went to the public market, before they listed publicly, similar to what OSIS is doing right now. Private company going public. When it was a private company, it had access to a limited number of investors. If we talk about this from a strictly financial perspective, just because I want to help you guys understand the numbers, but what's more important than the numbers is the impact, like what the result is going to be. But if we break it down to numbers that everyone can understand, Snapchat, private company, closed, it's a closed group, right? There's only a handful of people, you can count them on your hands, a handful of people invested into Snapchat. And you could only invest if you had $1 million plus. This is what the rule was, and you have to be an accredited investor. And you would never even know that Snapchat is raising capital because you're not one of these people, these very small group of investors. So now Snapchat, before it went public, was a few $1 billion company, which is huge. But the moment Snapchat took that step and they went publicly listed, they accessed the greater world of retail investors, which is hundreds of millions of people around the world. Small group of investors, a few $1 billion. When they went to the public market, it went to $20 billion in valuation because everyone wanted a piece. Telegram did the exact same thing. The moment Telegram became a publicly traded company, bam, more liquidity entering the market, more people getting involved in the project, more people wanting to own a piece of it because they believe in the growth that Snapchat is going to have, or the growth and impact that Telegram is having, for example. This concept, this result, right? Step one, step two, is the same thing that is happening in tokenization, but the incredible thing is that it's no longer just companies like business going stock market, bam, buy stock. It's no longer limited to that. It's everything. Everything can be tokenized. Everything will be digitized. This is an inevitability, and there are only so many companies involved in building the infrastructure. Someone asked in the community, and it was a great question. I'm gonna pull up the question right now. I think it was Clinton. What's going on, Clinton? Shout out Clinton. Clinton asked, as for a topic for today's community call, he was like, what sticks out to our major partners, major investors, and makes them, like, what made them most interested in the project? That is a great question. And to answer that, let's show you what partners we do have as part of the project. Give a little bit of a glance. I'm reading some comments here too. Okay, let me know if you guys can see this screen. Jacob asked a really interesting question. So tokenization is a special type of crowdfunding, or is it way more than that? Essentially, it is. Essentially, it follows the laws and the, we'll say, the network effects of what crowdfunding does. Now, a lot of things, for example, Kickstarter or WeFunder, or there's a bunch of these companies, these websites that people can crowdfund on. A lot of them are in exchange for a product and a service, which is great, which is the fundamental way to do business in this world. That's standard. Now, a lot of people, though, will say the vast majority of financially affluent people too, they may not be interested in just a simple product or a service. Maybe they want more. Maybe they want more than just the product and the service. Maybe they love the product and the service, right? Maybe they love the company, but maybe they want to be a part of it. Maybe they want ownership. This is the key word. Tokenization enhances ownership. Web3. I got three fingers up here. So it's essentially having a part of and participating in this project's growth. You know, if you really love something, why shouldn't you be also rewarded for being a participant of it, whether it's just as a financial participant or like your time and your energy? And this is what tokenization enables. It's not just it's not just crowdfunding, but it enables ownership for everyone involved. I'll let that sink in. I'll let that sink in as I pull up this document. Oh, let's just say hi to some people on IG. What's going on, Garth? What's going on, Wiley? Timbo Man, Raynon. Good to see you. What's going on, Remy Campos? Chris, Danny, Charlie Blind. We've got like dozens and dozens of people rolling over on the Instagram side. I'm getting so passionate, I'm losing my voice on this call. What's going on, Shack Rack? That's a cool username. But okay, to answer the question, what attracts a lot of our partners? Some of the partners include Visa, a company called Binary Labs, Prime Trust, projects like companies like MEXC, the exchange, Bitmart, the exchange, two of the biggest exchanges in the world. Partners like Unstoppable Domains, Prime Trust, who is the largest in North America, the largest like provider of liquidity and cryptocurrency to North American exchanges. So like whenever Binance US needs extra Bitcoin, they pull from Prime Trust. All of these partners are here because they recognize that one, there is a gold rush happening. Okay, one, there is a gold rush happening, and it is going to be happening and continuously growing the same way we see Bitcoin blowing up right this minute and beating all the odds and beating all the haters and all the people who are like, it's not real. Like, you know, all those like those social media or like the people on the news, the pundits who are like, Bitcoin is never gonna go anywhere. It's like, hey, sorry, man, it's already gone somewhere. It's been going places. That stuff like that doesn't happen by accident. These partners recognize the value and the growth and the not even the possibility, but the inevitability of tokenization. The same way we're seeing the world become a cashless society. We don't need paper money anymore. We're using cards. The same way we don't use phone books to write anymore. We're using phones and devices that save your everyone's phone number. How many of you here can still remember like everyone's phone numbers? Raise your hand if you can remember people's phone numbers. Excuse me. I hope that everyone actually raised their hand because it would suck if your phone died and you couldn't reach out to anybody. But but hey, we're putting all of our notes, our calendars, our everything is becoming digitized. We're no longer using pen and paper the same way that the financial markets are becoming digitized. Tokenization is just a natural, inevitable part of that. It's happening right now. And so all of our partners see that reality, and all of them are like, hey, OSIS is building the infrastructure for that. But unlike a lot of these companies that you see, like excuse me, Ethereum, for example. Ethereum is essentially building infrastructure for developers, not end users like you and me. They're not thinking about the people, the vast majority of people that are like required to get involved for it to really blow up to the next level. A lot of these projects in the blockchain world are only catering to the developers, to the engineers that are essentially a part of like creating the technical aspect of this revolution, of this economic evolution. They aren't really thinking about you and me, right? I'm not a blockchain engineer. I don't think anybody in this conversation is a blockchain engineer. But I'm like, hey, and our partners are like, hey, well, OSIS is thinking about everyone. Yes, we have products and tools that are like specifically for people who are developers, who are engineers, who know how to do that, the technical stuff. Sure, that's very important for them to have that. For example, the launchpad that everyone here knows and that we showcased on yesterday's stream. If anybody hasn't seen it, go to YouTube or go to Twitter. You're going to see yesterday's stream. We built a launchpad that anybody here can use, even your grandmother or your grandfather who barely knows how to use a computer, even they can click the buttons and launch a smart contract over 3,500 lines of code in minutes without any code, without any complexity. They can do that. They can save tens of thousands of dollars and create a currency and tokenize a product or a service in the blockchain because of what OSIS has created, the infrastructure. But it's not just for the end user like that. There's also something called an API, which is something that is more, it's basically imagine making the engine behind the tokenizer portable so that developers and other companies can plug it into their platforms. For example, we met with a company that is focused on music tokenization. They tokenize artists' albums and projects so that they don't have to rely on the traditional music industry to distribute their music and to monetize their music. So this company wants to plug in the OSIS tokenizer so they don't have to build this crazy thing that costs a lot of money and time and is really patent pending and extremely difficult to create. They can take the engine and safely plug it into their system so that their people can use it. So it's like both sides of the coin are being looked at on our side. Now, the blueprint looks like this. You have the blockchains, you have the core part of OSIS. This you have the partner companies, which is CoinCare, being built into a bank that can facilitate the fiat to crypto exchange. You have OSIS Mail, the ability to communicate in the blockchain with full privacy. We can look at it here too. Hold on. We have OSIS Mail. This is for everyone. This also includes the like so large file transfer. It also includes like cloud storage, Web3 cloud storage. We're gonna do it like a dedicated call specifically on every single product, but this is all infrastructure. This is all infrastructure for this. We'll call it a gold rush. It's like the gold rush is happening, but there aren't railroad tracks. There is no train to transport the goods from point A to point B. to facilitate the mining and the growth of the industry. Uh, there's especially almost no infrastructure for the end users like you and me. But this is what OSIS is creating. It's a decentralized sovereign organization for that reason, because we're building technology, infrastructure, the tools necessary to make the most of this industry as it grows in whatever way, shape, or form, whether you're a creator or you are a user or you're a supporter or you're an investor. Uh, you are being given the tools. That's what we are developing. That is the brief answer to Clinton's question of like, okay, what is keeping people, what is attracting them so much? What is motivating them so much? And it's like, hey, we're looking at both sides of the market. We're not just looking at the creators, we're not just looking at the technical developers, we're looking at the everyday people who are involved, who want to be involved, who are the soul of what Web3 and this tokenization market is going to be. It's not going to get to $500 trillion without all of us joining and all of us being involved. And all of the companies that are going to create the tools or going to create the end products that people use. Like the tech industry was not massive until companies like Microsoft came and gave everyone the laptop and the personal computer. Or when for example, the mobile phone world, the cell phone world was like a bunch of flip phones dominated by BlackBerry and Nokia, for example, or Motorola Razr. You guys remember that commercial? Until the foundation was there and Apple came along, made the iPhone, boom, the rest is history. The industry exploded in size. Now we are creating the infrastructure for that, for people, for big businesses and creators and developers alike. And the currency is a central part of this. And this is what everyone holds in OSIS. The OSIS profile, having a Web3 domain built into your profile in the blockchain. This is all happening right now, where you can take control of your identity and your data and actually enjoy things like revenue share because of blockchain. The OSIS exchange being built, estimated 2025 release. This is actually our immediate project right after OSIS Mail and Drive get released in the next month. Excuse me. All of these tools, all of these foundational infrastructure are a big part of what is going to move us towards the reality of tokenization is already here. This we need everyone's help. The industry, in order to reach these heights sooner, it takes everyone. Right now, most of the industry, most of the big players, most of these guys, if you look at them, these, except for maybe Solana, basically the top 7, 8 here, most of them, all they do is a transfer of wealth. That's it. They're just a value currency. They don't actually do anything besides allow people to transfer money or hold value. There's no infrastructure here to build and to create or to support and to get involved. Solana is the exception, which I believe it makes perfect sense that its market cap is this much because it is doing a lot of really good things in the space. I 100% respect Solana. XRP is kind of doing it, but honestly, they're quiet and slow. I don't know what is going on over there. But look at that. Biggest players right now are currently just simply financial assets. They're not pushing the market in a way that allows everyone to get involved and to create in the space. Ethereum actually is doing that. I'll put some respect on Ethereum's name, but it's mostly for developers, which I understand. They had to start they had to start the thing. They had to start everything. Same way Bitcoin started the entire industry. Ethereum made it so that people could develop within the industry. Now OSIS is making it so everyone can get involved and develop and create and also participate through the OSIS exchange, participate. So maybe you yourself, maybe you don't have an idea. Maybe you are not some crazy entrepreneur that wants to, I don't know, revolutionize like the solar solar farm industry or tokenize the solar farm industry. Like maybe that's not you, right? That's not everyone, but maybe you believe in that. Maybe you want to follow projects and be involved in the same way you're here with OSIS. The OSIS exchange is going to allow that to happen on one side, where the person can not only create and tokenize what they're trying to create and build, but they can share all of their information in terms of like what the project is doing, share the vision with everyone in the community that wants to get involved, and they can use OSIS or they can use USDT or they can use whatever other currency on the exchange to get involved and buy into these projects that they believe in, or in the first place, vote for their listing, vote for their ability to even be on the exchange and be public. It's a lot of great things happening, and the industry is doing amazing things. Like we've just seen Bitcoin hit all-time highs against all odds, against all of these experts who say that it's not going anywhere. They're the same people who said the internet's not going anywhere. And what do we see today? It is a fundamental part of everyone's, like every second of every day. I don't know how many people here spend more than 3 hours a day without any connection to the internet. Remember, radio is on the internet now. Like a lot of radio stations, you're receiving that information through the internet. All of your messages, all of your calls, all of these things are essentially on the internet. And blockchain is no different. Blockchain is just another part of the internet, and it will be in every aspect of our lives in the near future and in the long term. So, hey, here we are today. Here's the reason why it's the biggest. That's the reason why it is the biggest, or it's claimed to be the biggest, going to be the biggest wealth transfer in all of human history, because more value is being created everywhere. And blockchain makes it so it's a circular economy. That value goes back into the hands of people like you and me. It's no longer closed off into these closed boardrooms where the real estate developer who has $1 billion is developing projects and they have a handful of investors who also have millions of dollars, where, okay, 10 people benefited from this $300 million project. No, it's going to be tens of millions of people benefited from this $300 million project. And the project is probably going to become $1 billion project if that's the case, because so many people are involved. It is a circular economy, and OSIS is right here at the start of it, building the infrastructure for both sides of the market, the creators and the supporters, the end users and the original creators, the developers of everything. This, Clinton, is why and how so many people have interest in the project, who have a strong belief in the project. They're betting on the inevitable future, and they're betting on the fact that OSIS is going to be one of the major players in bringing that change and in ushering in that change and creating the infrastructure that will be used for this change. So that is it for today's call. I appreciate all of you for spending this time with me. Happy Saturday. If people have other like topic suggestions they want to talk about, drop it in any of the social medias. If you're in Discord, please drop it in there. We are going live every single day until listing. So I'm more than happy to address questions, to address topics, just like we did today when we really did a deep dive on tokenization. Let me know. Let me know. And that's it for today. I appreciate y'all. I will see you tomorrow. Chris and I are traveling to Los Angeles this weekend, actually, to meet up with our newest partner and newest team member, actually two of the newest team members. And it's pretty exciting. So tomorrow's call may be a little bit earlier or a little bit later, depending on like, we're moving around, we're getting to the airport, all that stuff. But yeah, we'll keep y'all updated on everything. The conversations are moving forward with the exchanges. I know we're talking about this daily. MEXC and Bitmart are confirmed for the two listings. We're still waiting on BitGet and Gate.io to complete their process. They ask for certain things from us. We supply them. Their team reviews it. It's one of those things. It is the weekend too, so they operate on business days. So we're gonna let them. Obviously, we don't really have a choice. We have to allow them to do their due diligence and do their processing and everything. And we're gonna know as soon as we do know. We're gonna let y'all know if you know, they're like, okay, we can work right now, or we can work within your time window, because we're like, hey, we want to list in March. Let me know if you guys can accommodate that. So I'll let y'all know. I'll keep y'all updated. Everything is looking really good so far. We are past the halfway point in under a week. We are past the halfway point of the entire raise for the pre-listing phase. I believe it's at 260, 270, maybe 275, 275,000 OSIS sold out of the 500,000 goal. That is open for anyone that wants to get OSIS. Go to the website, go into your account. If you don't have an account, create an account and get your OSIS before it is completely closed. This fundraise is going directly into the listing to maximizing the listing and making it like an absolute come onto the market with a bang, come onto the scene with like the best possible listing that we could do. So don't waste time. It could be closed before you know it. And that's it for me today. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. I hope you are happy. I hope you are healthy. I hope your families are good. And I hope that this conversation today got some juices flowing in your head. And I'm curious to see any of your research that you do into the tokenization market. What interests you? What caught your attention? Talk to us. We love to hear it. We love that conversation and discussion. But for now, love you all, and I will see you tomorrow.